What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we're going to check out this new dash cam from KEYROO.
Hyper Speed Media.
So this dash cam is a 4-channel 360-degree view dash cam, which has 4 cameras that you can point in different directions. The front-facing camera is a 4K 2160p front camera. It also has 5.8 gigahertz Wi-Fi up to 8 megabytes a second. It also has a 3-axis gravity sensor with the built-in GPS. You can control the dash cam through an app. Also included in the package is a 128 gigabyte memory card. And lastly, if you like to use the 24-hour parking mode, there's a hardwire kit that you can buy, which taps into the fuse box, which I will show you later on, that controls the dash cam even if your car is off. So here's everything included in the box. You got your rear view camera right here with the wire for it. This is the camera itself. This is if you want to plug the power into your cigarette lighter. Then you got the manual, and here's a trim removal tool. Also, you got a pin where you could use to reset the camera. And here's a bunch of sticky tabs where you can route the wire into. And lastly, there's a bunch of spare double-sided tape and some mounting templates. So here's the camera itself. As you can see, this is the front-facing camera, and here's your 2 side camera. And then you want to connect your rear camera using this wire right here onto the side of the camera. And then you will mount your rear view camera like so. It also comes with a memory card already inserted into the dash camera. Here's your on and off button, and this is your menu button. And right here is the display screen. I'm gonna remove the sticker. You could actually rotate the side camera to view from behind as well. And also it tilts a little bit because your windshield is most likely slanted. All right, let's get started with the installation. Make sure you have your hardwire kit ready. If you don't, you can also use the cigarette lighter plug. It's a lot easier, but it's gonna be harder to run the wire through the cabin. Your installation might be completely different depending on the vehicle, but for this Mazda Miata, what we're gonna do is actually remove the side panel right here. We're also gonna remove the visor, and we're also gonna remove the soft top bracket. You're gonna need a Phillip for these 2 visor bolts, and then you're gonna need a Torque 30 for these soft top bracket. Okay, next we're gonna push the weather seal aside so we can get to the middle panel right here, and it is overlap over this side panel, so you gotta be very careful with this clip right here. Once you got it out, now we can pry and get the side panel out, and it's held on by just clips. Okay, so I got my hardwire kit right here. There's 2 methods we could do to run the wires. The easiest way, of course, is to run the wire through the pillar and all the way to the middle of the windshield. The harder method is to run it directly from the dash up and then to the windshield. You can choose whatever is easy for you, but I'm gonna go through the dash because that way it's easier, so we won't see any wires right here on the pillars. An easy way to feed the wire is to use a metal rod. What I have right here is a welling rod. You could also use a coat hanger. So now I'm going to feed the rod to the side of the pillar all the way downward. So now we're going to tape the USB side of the cable to the rod itself, and then we're going to pull the rod out. Now we can run the cable up the pillar. Okay, now we're ready to mount the dash cam. Now we can remove the double side tape backing, and also the lens has a cover on it. Make sure you remove the plastic as well. And before you mount it, make sure all the button is clear of any obstacle. And we can now connect the USB wire Make sure there's enough slack. And you can use the template to mount it, but I'm just gonna eyeball it and mount it right here. Now we're ready to put this panel back in place. Now there's 3 wire. The black wire is the ground. So we're gonna mount this to the chassis of the car. And there's a few screws right here that we can mount it to that will ground out the wire. And for the red, that is your 12-volt switch. And the yellow is your battery. So we're gonna mount these 2 wires directly into the fuse itself. Inside the hardwire kit, there's a bunch of different fuse connectors. Make sure you use the correct one for your car. We're going to pull out 2 fuse out of here. I'm going to pull out the radio fuse and the power window fuse. Here's the fuse adapter. So you want to take your old fuse and put it right into the top slot right here. Then you want to take your new fuse, which is supply in the kit, into the bottom slot. And we're going to do the same with the other fuse. Now we're ready to install this. Next, we can connect the yellow wire to the power window fuse, and then the red wire into the radio fuse. So that's your 12-volt switch. And then lastly, we have to ground out the system, which I'm gonna use this mounting point right here. Just gonna loosen this screw real quick. Well, I'll do the bottom one. I'm gonna loosen the bottom screw. Mount the wire, the black wire, and then tighten the screw. Now we can zip tie the cable and mount it to a secure spot. Alright, since the car is a convertible, I don't have a back window. I'm going to mount the rear view camera right here on the mirror. Alright, let's take a look at the dash cam itself. Up here is the power button, and here's like a menu button right here. I wish this screen was touch screen. It's not a touch screen, so you can't access the menu from here. The only way to access the menu is through the app. So you could download the app and check out all the different options that it has. The camera itself, the side camera, you could adjust it up and down, and of course tilt it left and right on both sides. You could do that. And also there is an infrared light right here on the side of the camera, so you kind of can see inside the dash. If it's really dark, it lights up the dash. On the rear mounted camera, you can also swivel it up and down, but there's no left and right pivot point. I wish they had a left and right pivot point for this. And the first thing they want us to do is to format the SD card. You want to go ahead and download the app. The app is called Pastio. It's right on the App Store. And once you connect that, and now we're able to add the camera onto the app. And the Wi-Fi password, default password is 1234567 and then click join. And the next thing you want to do is to format the SD card on the camera setting. On the bottom you can see format, confirm. On the phone app itself, there's tons of different options. I suggest you go ahead and check it out. And within the app, you could cycle through different cameras. and you could adjust it as your liking. All right, now we're gonna go for a drive and test out the dash cam. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you'd like to learn more about the KEYROO dash cam, check out the links below, and I'll see you on the next video.